So, I've made it pretty clear in the past that I don't really like Family Guy. However, I will say that since I last made that statement, my opinion on it has gotten better. I decided to give it another shot because a lot of people kept begging me to give it one more chance. And no, I still don't like it, but now we're on speaking terms at least, so I guess there's that. It's better than me hating it. I mean, I still don't like it, and I don't think I ever will. Personally, I'm just fine with that. But it's no longer my least favorite show ever. Instead, it's probably in the running for my #1 most overrated show ever. But that's a topic for another day. Instead, we got Versus the Network. Ever since we first came up with the idea of Versus the Network, we've wanted to do this. Originally it was going to be SpongeBob, but then we realized Family Guy is actually a much more unique case than SpongeBob, and you want to know why? Well, stick right here because we're going to get into Versus the Network number 203, what happens when the network is too supportive of you. First off, before we can analyze what exactly happened here and how you can learn from it, we need to go over Family Guy's origin story, but we need to go over it very quickly because a lot of people have already told this tale. Seth MacFarlane originally had this cartoon called Life with Larry about this old man named Larry and his talking dog named Steve, who by the way ended up becoming Peter and Brian respectively. Seth MacFarlane tried to make this into a full-time show, pitching it around from network to network to network, or sometimes to other shows. He wanted to have a kind of Tracy Ullman-Simpsons relationship, and his first choice? The Weird Al Show! Yeah, we discussed that on the last Versus the Network. Al decided to turn the show down, which honestly I think was actually a good choice on everybody's part because for Weird Al, Family Guy, or at the time Life with Larry, didn't really fit. And for Seth MacFarlane, if Life with Larry got sold to CBS, it never would have become Family Guy, and we never would have had any of this. Okay, for me, the second one doesn't really have a lot of weight, but still. He retooled it into Larry and Steve to be a little bit more kid-friendly, and he aired it on the What a Cartoon Show on Cartoon Network. And eventually, through some sheer network magic, he ended up creating Family Guy, which got sold to Fox. And right away, it was a gigantic hit, particularly Stewie and Brian. They were automatically the breakout characters right from the beginning, but still, everyone loved everybody else. It was dark, it was offbeat, it had a lot of cutaway jokes that you didn't see a lot of at the time, but even so, it had grounds, it had boundaries, which would go away in the future, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Family Guy's easy tour of duty ended after season 1. Right from season 2, it got bad. I'm not saying that's when the show got bad or anything, I'm saying that that's when the show struggled to stay alive. Fox decided to reschedule the time slots and put Family Guy up against this little-known NBC show, Frasier. Yeah, not a good idea. Frasier just so happened to be one of NBC's biggest hits at the time, right up there with their other mega hit, Friends. And sure, Family Guy was popular, but it was nowhere near a mainstream success yet. It had a lot of ways to go before it could beat something like Frasier. And sure enough, it didn't, because the network decided to cancel the show, only to go back on their decision to give them a shorter third season, which was supposed to be the end. But Family Guy fans were not happy. They decided to send Adult Swim's reruns of the show through the roof in ratings and buy every bit of merchandise they possibly could. This made them realize that Family Guy still has an audience and maybe, just maybe, canceling the show way too early was a bad idea. Now that alone is already a Versus the Network story in and of itself, but now we get to the real meat, the stuff where things get really, really bad. It seems like Fox was so sorry for cutting Family Guy short that they let the crew do whatever they wanted, and you'd better believe they took advantage of that. Any kind of taboo topic, any unfunny joke that goes on way too long, any sacred cow, whatever it takes. They were gonna do whatever they wanted, when they wanted, hopefully to offend as many people as possible. Now, I as a non-Family Guy fan do have to admit that the early stuff is a lot better. Sometimes it'll actually get me to laugh, I will admit that. So to see it give all that up, just to be yet another Tipping the Rift or Drawn Together Season 3 is really saddening and also kinda concerning, but it didn't stop there. As I'm sure we all know from all those angry mid-2010 reviews out there, the show just kept getting worse and worse and worse. They'd have episodes about herpes, or the dog getting a baby pregnant, or abusive relationships are bad except when there's a lightning rod, then they're good, to abusive relationships are bad, let's just play it like a Hallmark movie. So many bad episodes here, and the bad episodes kept growing. A lot of Family Guy fans were growing concerned because the episodes they knew and loved were becoming fewer and fewer. Simply put, it's because everybody's running out of ideas. It's not like South Park where their whole existence is just to comment on everything that's topical the same week that it becomes popular. Family Guy takes a long time to make. That and it has different purposes from South Park, so it can't really be compared. Its purpose now is just to shock and offend. And I'm not gonna blame it on Seth MacFarlane like a lot of people do, because he actually hasn't written anything for Family Guy in a very long time. There have been a lot of different showrunners and people helping him out, so even if he does deserve the blame, it's not all of it. It's a team of people making this, it's a team of people approving it, but I bet you're wondering, how is this the network's fault? Let me tell you, over the course of Versus the Network, especially with stuff like the Weird Al Show or hey, last week with Dilbert, we've seen a lot of the time the network will just go after you, they'll make you miserable, they'll cut you short, they'll do whatever they can to screw you over, basically for funsies. But sometimes it goes the other way. Sometimes they're a little too supportive and they don't want to let you go no matter what. So what that the ratings are going down? So what that critics don't like any of the new episodes? So what that the fans are abandoning the show in droves? We gotta keep going. Family Guy's such an established brand that if we get rid of it, who knows what's gonna become of our multi-billion-dollar corporation? In all seriousness though, there's this rumor going around that the crew of Family Guy desperately want the show to end. Some people believe that the reason they keep making these really disgusting and disturbing episodes, at least according to the mainstream audience, I just kind of find them boring because they're just trying way too hard. The reason for those is because they want to get out of doing the show and try other things. Therefore, if they do something so offensive and so provocative that the network decides to pull the plug, they'll finally be free. I'm not really sure I buy it, but if it turns out to be true, I wouldn't really be all that surprised. It's clear that a lot of people on board just want to be done. Similarly, look at The Simpsons. All they really do is basically tread water whenever they make a new episode. They don't do anything new, they don't do anything distinguishing, they just sit there, do nothing, go nowhere, and then it's over. Or how's about Modern Family, where it was good, then it got really bad, then it got meh, then it got good again, and then it got bad, because the network just kept dragging it on way too long. Or of course, SpongeBob or The Loud House. Now, I have a lot more experience with SpongeBob because I grew up with it, and The Loud House, I stopped watching that pretty quickly. But according to a lot of people, it too has lived long past its shelf life. So what does this mean exactly? Well, when you sign over your show to a network, it's theirs, it's no longer yours. Do you really think that Matt Groening still owns The Simpsons? No, he hasn't been on that for a long time. It's Fox's property, and they're gonna do whatever they want with it. Whether it becomes unprofitable, or whether it becomes reviled, they're just gonna keep it around because it's force of habit. There's no way that Modern Family Guy is doing gangbusters like it was doing back in, say, seasons 5, 6, or 7. I don't believe it for a second. And look at all these reviews out there about Family Guy. Sure, I made reference to things like Mr. Enter or somebody making a bunch of Family Guy reviews that were very negative in the mid-2010s, but even look now, there's just more and more bad press piling up. A lot of people don't want to watch Family Guy anymore. A lot of people are done. It's that old saying, you either go out a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Family Guy is the villain of the animation industry. I hate to keep bringing up South Park, but once again, when South Park decided to make fun of Family Guy with Cartoon Wars, not only were they pleased with themselves, but the creators of The Simpsons sent them flowers, and the creators of King of the Hill called them up to say they were doing God's work. Many in the industry hate Family Guy because they say all it is just a bunch of cutaways, mean-spirited characters that break character at the drop of a hat, bad stories, bad structure, bad everything, and yeah, that's kind of my issue with it too. But the show wasn't always this way. Once again, go back to the earlier seasons, 1, 2, 3, and some of 4. Whether or not you like it, you can definitely acknowledge that it has an identity worth having. It's unique. It's different. It stands out from all the other copycat shows out there. Even if it does have a couple tropes like the dumb fat dad or the nagging mom, it strays from the norm just enough to pique your interest. And whether you resonate with the style or not, it's completely up to you. Just like a lot of shows out there that take chances. It's all gone now. They have no way of bringing it back either, because whenever they may have an idea, they'll realize, wait, we already did that. Crap, we're stuck. And the reason I decided to bring up Family Guy instead of the more popular Fairly Odd Parents or SpongeBob SquarePants are for two reasons. One, it's an adult cartoon, and that doesn't happen to a lot of those out there. The only other one I can think of is The Simpsons. South Park only got bad for 2 seasons and they pulled themselves right out of it, and now they're doing these post-pandemic movies, and I gotta say, best it's ever been. But also because of just how big of a fall it took. SpongeBob had a lot of spiky quality. They had some good episodes here, some bad episodes there. The good ones were pretty decently good, but the bad ones ranged from decently bad to really, really bad. Then there's The Simpsons, which is just mediocre incarnate. But Family Guy just changed its identity, and it's nobody's fault but the network. If they just let it stop, if they let it take a breather even for a couple years, to let the writing staff get their footing back, or maybe hire some people with new ideas, but they can't do that. Family Guy is a brand first and a show second. It's on there because it's a big name. Advertisers keep flocking to the show because people will keep tuning into the reruns and not necessarily liking what they're doing in their new episodes, but still, they gotta keep going with Family Guy, so Fox will keep it around because it keeps making money and people keep coming back to watch it even though they know it sucks. Listen, I get it. You want to be loyal to your show. You want to stick by them during the rough parts. I feel that, 100%. But at some point, you just have to acknowledge the show's dead. It's been dead for a long, long time. And sad to say, it's gonna stay dead for the far foreseeable future. All the original staff that made it work have moved on to other things, and the people who are running it now just don't know what to do. But what can you, the aspiring creator, do to prevent this from happening to your show? Sadly, you can't do anything. With this case, you will never see it coming. People never expected SpongeBob to be as big of a hit as it was. People never expected The Simpsons to be as big of a hit as it was. Heck, people didn't expect Family Guy to be as big of a hit as it was. But that's showbiz for you. It just kinda happens. A lot of the projects that networks think are going to be a big hit end up failing, and the ones that they think are going to fail end up becoming multinational phenomenons. And again, once you sell your show to a network, that's it. It's out of your control. You're the creator, yeah, but you're also, at this point, staff. If they don't like the direction you're taking the show, they can let you go. But it's important to make sure that while you're on the show, it stays as good as it could possibly be. While you're working there, keep your integrity, keep your dedication, keep your drive, because otherwise, the downfall will happen under your watch, and believe me, you do not want that. So yes, this may have been a little bit more of a dark versus the network in the fact that you can't really do anything to stop it, but at least you know that it's possible. So if you are going to pitch a show, if you are going to be a creative mind out there, be warned, your show just might end up being the next Family Guy. Well folks, thanks for watching the video. What'd you guys think? Do you like Family Guy? Do you think that whole theory of the writers trying to cancel the show by making terrible episodes is true? Comment below and let me know, because I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say. Real quick, I'd like to thank our Patreon executive producers, Lee Fraser, Valkyria, Whoop-Doo, Michaela Bellamy, MD the Dude, Blackjack, Nightingale Wednesday Nightmare, Unkale, and Manny Paredes. If you too would like your name read at the end of every Media Mementos video, then consider donating to our Patreon, which has a link in the description below.
Comment of the day, courtesy of Billy HL. Let's talk about this. Soren the Film Brony, that opening sketch alone might just be better than the entirety of VeggieTales Abridged. This is hilarious because it's true, and yeah, you're funny. That opening sketch was pretty good though, and the closing one too. I don't know how many people made it to the end of that video for a juice box, but I hope you did. Hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great rest of your day.